This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome to the Mailbag, everybody, on this Thursday, March 14th, 2024. We're going to get to your emails and your phone calls. We're going to try to cram this in a single episode, and we're going to do that in just a minute. But first, I'd like to welcome you to the show. We are the WWE Podcast. We are here almost every single day, punching out about 5-6 shows a week. And I think that as WrestleMania season ramps up, our quality of shows should ramp up as well, and quantity as well. So also the ads you're hearing throughout the show, you can get rid of those. Patreon.com/WWE Podcast is a great place to do that if you want to get rid of all the ads and just listen to wrestling content. And I want to give some patrons a shout out here. If I've already given you a shout out, well, you're getting a double shout out. Austin Daughtry, Alex Blundell, Melbourne, I think I mentioned you last time, and Jonathan Ozuna. Welcome, everybody, to the WWE Podcast. Okay. Also, Apple Podcasts, if we want to go ad-free, we have a free feed on Apple. There's also a ad-free feed on Apple Podcasts if you want to join us there with a 7-day free trial. Okay, let's get into the emails and see if we can do this in one shot. It's not always a goal that I achieve, but we're going to try. So let's, as always, start with patrons and see what they have to say. This is Muller. There we go. Or Miller, rather, from beautiful South Africa. He says, how is it, everyone? I'm loving the Bloodline segment so much, especially with now The Rock there, my favorite as a kid. I think I'll become a little experienced to seeing small details, such as when The Rock came in on Friday, a new entrance, but they made a point about the eyes on the bull being red lately. With the lightning, no more attention to the eyes of the bull, and then The Rock still does his entrance as the people's champ. Still climbing on the corner with the arm above, and the people love him, and he loves that, and the people love him, and he loves that. The people love him. He's clever. But notice, after that move, when he goes to the next corner, Roman's whole stance changes from confidence to being unsure. When The Rock came back to the ring, the same confident stance, maybe a nervous smile. Be nice to one another till next time. Cheers. Also, the fact the Bloodline stood separate from The Rock, the chant going for Rocky, Roman not showing any signs, Roman's not showing signs of the whole ring or indicating everyone in the ring. Greatness stands before you, looking like excluding The Rock, and a small pullback with the tribal handshake with Roman. This has the perfect recipe for a turn from either Rock or Roman. So yeah, there's definitely going to be a turn from one of them. No doubt about it. Whether it happens at Mania, right after Mania, to build to WrestleMania 41, I think we all kind of understand that that's going to happen. And it's the right story to tell, And the attention to detail, I did see that obviously on SmackDown as well. The new entrance, the lightning entrance is awesome. The Red Bull eyes, yeah, I enjoyed that too. I wish they would make his music a little different, though. I know they've kind of modified it, but I would really like it to go back to more of a Hollywood rock entrance music. But, it seems like it's still basically the same. And, yeah, there are many different little things happening. You notice Roman feels... He seems still kind of annoyed by The Rock. If you notice, he's not like, being overly supportive of The Rock when he's speaking. When The Rock's talking, Roman just kind of looks down or, makes little faces. Like, he doesn't seem to be fully invested in The Rock. And there's tension here, no doubt. There is tension between The Rock and Roman Reigns. And also, you're right. The fact that the crowd still cheers The Rock when he comes out. Of course, because the fans do love him. It was just ill-timed with Cody's story that the people wanted to see. So we'll get back to all loving The Rock. Even the people that don't like The Rock right now will get back to loving The Rock because Cody will finish his story. It was even made more clear by the fact that The Rock said if Cody doesn't win, he's never going to get another chance. So he has to win here. Does he not? It almost further solidifies that outcome. So thanks, Miller. Okay. Enjoy South Africa, by the way, while we're all freezing up here. Let's continue to the next patron, and we'll go to, let's see, Freeman. He says, this week's mailbag, hopefully I copy it down right this time. Yeah, it looks good. I like the length, Freeman. It looks good. I'm guessing you're under the weather as you read this, so please get better soon. Wild prediction time, but I feel extremely confident in this one, so I'm calling it now. Tiffany Stratton is winning the Money in the Bank this year. I think I'm not alone in supporting her and feeling as if she's the best addition to the women's roster in recent memory. She's overshadowed Naomi in her return and is being built as a heel. So she is the perfect choice for Money in the Bank. I don't know if you have her successfully cash in so early into her career, but if she keeps going what she's doing, I wouldn't be against it. Tiffany Stratton, you're right. Tiffany Stratton has been a shining light since she has come up, and surprisingly so. Usually, when they have the NXT stars come up, whether it's singles or in a tag team, they often feel like they're still from NXT visiting the main roster. It takes time for the crowd to understand who and what they are. There's an adjustment period. For Tiffany, it's just like she's belonged this entire time. That is not a common outcome for NXT stars coming up. So there's something special happening with Tiffany Stratton. And I think Money in the Bank is a very high likelihood. There's some other women you can make cases for too, like Chelsea Green. But yeah, I think you're right. The tag team match on Raw with Maxine seems like WWE wants to give her a story of being bad and making her messing up into a work. While this could be an interesting story, it only works if there's a payoff of her being good, something we have yet to see. The segment as a whole had me hiding behind myself in embarrassment. It's not as though it was a top talent calling her bad, and this is an obvious move to address fan criticism to make her feel better or something. The downside of this is if it's kayfabe, that is she. I think I'm just maybe not reading this right. The downside this has now is if it's kayfabe that she is just as bad and doesn't deserve her spot. What does that do to Maxine's career going forward if she doesn't demonstrate a significant improvement? Yeah, this is a weird story. It felt very forced on Raw. It was uncomfortable to watch. I know what they were trying to do, take something real and make it into a story, and I have absolutely no issue with that at all. It just was executed very poorly. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, if she's not that good, and that's the whole story, but yeah, you're right, the payoff is that she's supposed to be really good, but if she was really good, wouldn't we have already seen that instead of the fans noticing she's not good and turning it into a story? So it's kind of a circular way of saying I don't think is just that good yet. So you can't really, I don't know what the payoff, you're right, is. She's not that good. So you're going to point to the fact she's not good. And it's not as if she's going to surprise us overnight that she's really good. Yet you're right. Because if that's the payoff, we would have already known that she's really good. Otherwise, the fans wouldn't have booed her. Right? So like this is it's a dangerous story for her to get into because she's not going to improve that quickly. So you're just going to continue to have her be bad, Yeah, that's interesting. On to Mania. What if, and this is a huge long shot, CM Punk is cleared before WrestleMania? Do you book him to take the World Championship from Seth to make him face Drew for the title at WrestleMania, or do you leave him hanging for a title match with Drew post-Mania? I feel with Seth getting involved in the Bloodline stuff, a Punk versus Drew match would be better suited for WrestleMania than a Drew versus Seth. It feels like everything that happens is building to Drew versus Punk, so that would be the bigger match and less predictable, as Seth versus Drew seems like we were just going through the motions. Or at this stage, has Seth just called Bagsies on the spot? I don't know what Bagsies means. If Punk isn't cleared, do you have him do an appearance at WrestleMania anyway for some mic stuff? Well, CM Punk's going to be in Chicago on Raw. Is it a week from Monday? A week from this Monday. So, yeah. So he'll be on Raw to address something, I would imagine. He's not going to get physically involved. He's not cleared. He just had tricep surgery a month and a half ago. That doesn't get healed that quickly. So the answer, I think, is a resounding no when it comes to CM Punk getting involved physically or having a title match at WrestleMania. I think there's zero chance of that. I really do. But that doesn't mean he can't show up. I think he will absolutely be there in a somewhat limited capacity, non-physical capacity, because he said his mouth still works, and that's true. And it's been one of his biggest assets. I mean, think about it. When he first came in, he didn't get physically involved with anyone at all for like months. So he might as well have been injured, because all he did was come out and cut promos and with Cody or with Drew or whoever. So CM Punk versus Drew, absolutely, that's the match that is bigger than Seth and Drew, because we've seen Seth and Drew many times. But you can't do Punk and Drew because Punk's injured. But he'll be there. He'll have some kind of say, I think, with Drew and his title match with Seth. Thanks, Freeman. All right. Let's continue with Alex the French guy. He says, I just need to say that I wanted Chad Gable to win, not Sami Zayn. Also, WWE was teasing us more about Chad than Sami. What's the plan for Chad? Alex, I don't know. My hope is there is a plan in some capacity. Now, you could say that there's a small chance Chad could somehow still make a case for a triple threat. Based on his performance last week, which was absolutely A+. You can make a case for Chad somehow still getting a second chance to get into this match and convincing Adam Pearce that he needs this match. His family needs this match. Based on coming within a hair of beating Sami Zayn last week, he needs this match. He's proved himself. I think you could still say there is a chance of a triple threat. And I actually would go that road because he has proven himself. And imagine a WrestleMania match between Sami, Chad, and Gunther. I know they did a triple threat last year with Sheamus and with Drew. I understand. It's a different dynamic here with these two men. So that's how I would go. But if they don't go that road and it's Sami and Gunther one-on-one, I don't know what Chad does. I don't know. I just hope that there are plans for him and not in some meaningless battle royal. I don't need some Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal nonsense. So, thank you, Alex. Let's get to our next patron. And let's go to Cameron. Cameron says, hey all, Cameron from Wollongong here, writing this immediately after the gauntlet match. Why the hell would they do Gable dirty like that? He has way better choice than Gunther. Is there a chance he could be inserted in the match for a triple threat? That's so weird. Or am I an idiot in being not so sure he would have won the gauntlet at all? Cheers. That's so funny. I really did not line this up on purpose, Cameron. That I swear. That is so strange. I just thought of the triple threat. I didn't see your email, and I just randomly picked your email. So kind of weird there. But I think he was a better choice too. I still believe Gunther and Gable is a better choice than Sami, but I know why they chose Sami. Sami's on the kind of a comeback tour. He is in a lot of ways a bigger quote unquote star than Gable is. He has a little more name value than Gable does, and it is more of a fresh matchup, right? But I think Gable does have a more interesting story than Sami Zayn does. I agree. But look for that triple threat. I think there's a chance, but not a great one. All right, let's go to a new patron, Nick. And he says, first off, happy to finally officially be a patron. Shout out to Rocky T and everyone else. They welcomed me into the Discord server. I'm stoked to have a small place in the non-toxic part of the IWC. Yeah, I hope it stays non-toxic. I really do. It's difficult as the community grows. It's not easy to keep everybody, policed. And that's not my job, okay? I'm not anyone's mommy or daddy, okay? But I really just hope that in the Discord server, everyone's staying, keep the personal stuff out of it and just talk wrestling, right? Because we all love wrestling. That's why we're here. So good. I'm glad to hear that, Nick. And don't forget, Rocky T and Mrs. Rocky T will be a part of the Weekend Review show this Sunday night. So look for that. All right. The tag team ladder match at WrestleMania has me very excited. I think it is the perfect opportunity to either be finally unifying the damn belts into one damn belt or resplit the belts. Why not have two belts above the ring with the first two to grab it, first two to grab a belt, getting a title? Could be a fun wrinkle. Yeah, it could be, but again, I mean, I'm a big fan of if they unified a belt, don't ununify the belt, because they don't do well with tag team division management as a whole anyway, especially with the women. But even the men's side forever has never been a focal point. But I think if they ununify the belts, then inherently the belts mean less because you're taking half the value away from whatever belt you are now claiming. So the value goes away, which means there's more of them, and you're undoing a decision you made not too long ago to unify them. But I agree. If they have unified tag team belts, make a damn unified tag team championship. There shouldn't be 4 belts representing a tag team championship. There should be 2 belts representing a unified tag team championship. I hate the fact that there's still 2. I hate it. But I agree. Not the fact that they should split them, but there should be 1 belt. I also think this is an indication that Priest's imminent cash-in might be a successful one. I'll call it now. He joins the IC title match, making it a triple threat, pins Zayn so Gunther can lose the belt without a pin. That'll free up Gunther versus Brock at SummerSlam without a belt and gives Priest and Zayn a program for Backlash. So yeah, there's that chance. I mean, it depends how quickly they're trying to bring Brock in. Many people are suspecting that he is going to show up at WrestleMania to confront Gunther after he beats Gable, and that's very possible. It's very possible. I'm sorry, after he beats Sammy, not Chad Gable, unless Chad Gable's inserted in a triple threat. But after he beats Sammy, that we're going to have Brock Lesnar come out and face Gunther. And I think that's a good moment to do that, because sure, you could have had that match at WrestleMania, but we all know why it didn't happen. And you could put Gunther and Brock on a different pay-per-view, and that's fine. You know, everything doesn't need, as I said I think it's the last show, every great match in your mind doesn't need to all happen at once at WrestleMania. A good chunk of them do, because it's WrestleMania, and even more special, it is WrestleMania 40. It always adds a little extra oomph when there's a nice round number. So, yeah, but you don't need to just blow everything on one single event with every dream match you can think of. But I digress. Back to the ladder match. I'm hoping to see Profits, Awesome Truth, DIY, Imperium, and New Day in the match. Sorry, DJ. Split the titles and give us the wins to the Profits and DIY. Nick from Eugene. Okay, Nick. So yeah, they could do that. They could split the titles, but I'm a big proponent of not doing that. I guess they could, but again, I wouldn't. Now, I did see that the Indashir, I think they were shown quickly as part of the qualifying matches, were they not? I think Indashir is at least involved in the conversation. So that's exciting. But you're probably right. I think the ladder match, when it comes to the teams that ultimately are going to be in there, you have the Profits, Awesome Truth, DIY, Imperium, New Day. Yeah, I think you're right. All right. Let's go to another patron. Let's go to DJ Kuzmo. And speaking of, he says, hello, AEW and W Podcast World. DJ Kuzmo back at it again on our Mailbag show. And the cries of justice for Maxine continue all over social media. I don't get why most fans are taking this so seriously and feeling sorry for Maxine. To me, this is a progression of Maxine's character to maybe have some sort of edge to her character and more crowd support for a singles push. I'm looking at the direction for Alpha Academy, and I'm a little concerned as to whether or not this group will stay together for the remainder of 2024. Chad had an amazing performance in the Gauntlet match and should be featured in more singles matches and maybe even potentially win Money in the Bank this year. Otis, who mourned the loss of his mom, has been absent from in-ring competition on Raw since last January. Akira Tozawa, which I don't know what to make of him in this group, to be honest. And then there's Maxine. Alpha Academy does have a scheduled qualifying tag team match next week on Raw against the New Day to earn a spot in the six-pack tag team ladder match at WrestleMania. But after that, I don't know what the creative direction will be for Alpha Academy. Well, I think you kind of answered your own question, DJ. I think that these men and women, specifically for Maxine, are carving their own paths. And they don't need to have a big breakup fight. You know, that does exist where they can all just kind of agree to move on to their own careers. And it seems as if they all have some kind of direction. Now, Otis, I don't know what that will be. Akira Tozawa is just... the fact that he's directionless is almost a direction for him. That's been his direction, is he's directionless. So that's fine for him. Maxine seems to be, carving her own path of being a bad wrestler. But that's her gimmick, which we'll see if that works out. And obviously Chad is the A+ premier professional wrestler of the group that continues to fall short. But yeah, there are signs, and I think that they will not win at on Raw, and the New Day will. And I think that Chad might get into a triple threat scenario for the Intercontinental title. So we'll see. But all right, two things. What are the odds that we get another Rock director's cut 20-minute promo before SmackDown this Friday? And non-wrestling related, I can't believe Saquon Barkley is signed with the Eagles. Of all the teams in the NFL, he signs with that team. Are you kidding me? That's my New York Giants enemy. Come on, Saquon. So, okay, first, do I think The Rock's going to cut another director's cut? Do I think we're going to get one? Yeah, it's possible. He's been enjoying doing those, whether he's wearing a cowboy hat or whatever he's doing. I'm fine with it. People seem to really be taking to it. But I don't know, what else is he going to say? He's kind of said everything there is to say about Cody to Cody. So I don't know what he'd ramble on about now. So it's possible. Maybe it'll be like a 5 or 10 minute, because 20 minutes is a long time to talk. So we'll see. But as far as Saquon Barkley going to the Eagles, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way it goes, man. I mean, it is not a good look. I think it's the worst thing about it is, of course, that you have a rival team now getting one of your premier running backs. But here's the thing. The Giants are going to do just fine. I mean, didn't they just pick up like a premier quarterback? I think they did. Now, the running game has never been a big part, at least in the last several years in the NFL, especially, never been a huge, a huge offensive weapon. Running backs, I think, have kind of gone to the back, so to speak, of what teams look for when they're drafting. And when they formulate offensive plans, it's tight end, wide receivers, quarterbacks, right? It's the throwing game right now. So sure, Saquon was awesome. And it does hurt only because he's going to a rival team. But I'm not too concerned. I really am not. Now, when the Eagles come into Giants, when the Giants have a home game against the Eagles, it's going to be fun to hear the crowd reaction for Saquon. And it's not going to be fun if he, runs 3 touchdowns against you. But, yeah, it does stink. And it just shows you, man, that, when he said, oh, I'm Giants for life, it's all about marketing yourself. And it's all about the dollar. I hate to say it. But anyway, before I go on a further rant about Saquon, this is DJ Kuzmos signing off. See y'all on Discord for Friday Night SmackDown. Should be a memorable one. Have a great weekend. Peace. All right, DJ. Thank you so much. Let's continue with another patron, Charlie. And he says, what's up, all you fellas and lady fellas? This is Charlie from Milwaukee. I've got a couple crazy ideas for WrestleMania that might just work. Why not make the IC Championship a triple threat with Sammy, Gunther, and Chad Gable? Jeez, you guys are killing me. It's just so strange that my proposed idea that I came up with, now everyone else is sending me emails about it. I really didn't plan this. It sounds like I did, but I'm not that organized. So you're saying Chad deserves a WrestleMania match with Gunther this year a whole lot more than Sammy does. Another idea is don't have the tag team match between Seth and Cody and Roman and Rock. We all know the only reason this match is happening is so The Rock has a match. They could easily get back to the Rock versus Triple H rivalry, only this time you have Randy Orton fight on behalf of Triple H. Also, it looks like Roman is going to be at SmackDown March 22nd. You heard it here first. Also, Matt, the Yankees are coming to Milwaukee at the end of April from the 26th through the 28th. I have tickets for the 27th with your name on it if you want it. Can't wait to do weekend review next week. Happy 316, everyone. Hashtag Cody sucks. Okay, Charlie. Okay, so when you say next week, I hope you mean the next week, because I have Mr. and Mrs. I want to say casual wrestling fan. I wish, only because I missed them. But I have Mr. and Mrs. Rocky T coming on the show. Really excited about that too, though, because I haven't spoken with them in quite a while. They're going to be on the weekend review this week. So, Charlie, I'm hoping you mean the following week. I can't keep my schedule straight. It's really unprofessional of me, but that's. I'm really hoping that's what you mean. As far as the Yankees, I mean, I'd love to. I mean, in Milwaukee, I mean, then, I mean, it's just, I'm not, 25 and single anymore, right? Like family, work, I had to fly out. Like my wife would be like, wait, where are you going? Who's this? Why are you going there? And it's like, to do that would have me try to move heaven and earth to do it. Just with all the logistics of, I'd love to go to a Yankee game. Love it. But I appreciate the offer. But, all right. So the triple threat continues to be an idea that is, to me, makes the most sense. It really does. So, and as far as The Rock having a match at Mania, and that's the only way. Well, yes and no. Like, I do enjoy also Roman and Seth getting in the ring again. So that might spark something for down the line. So, I mean, The Rock and Roman teaming together isn't just for The Rock to have a match, which is partly that, yes. But it's about Roman and Seth, and Roman and Rock starting their rivalry, I think. Maybe tension builds in that match. Some kind of miscommunication starts. You could really do a lot in that match. It's not just, well, we're going to throw a tag team match out there to give Rock a match. That's kind of a byproduct of this, I think. So, thanks, Charlie. Let's go to Robert. He says, from Robert from Seattle, quick question. Do you think us as fans expect too many title changes at WrestleMania? Generally, it's a time for a fresh start and making moments, but a quick stat, over the last four WrestleManias, there have been 27 title defenses. 16 of the 27 retained, and 11 were crowned new champs. I hear people's predictions saying all or most of the titles will change hands this year, but stats say otherwise. Rhea, Gunther, and Logan Paul could easily walk out as champions, and Roman has a shot as well. Food for thought. Yeah, thanks for those stats, Robert. I appreciate that. I don't think a lot of people would take the time or even know that stat is significant, but it is. I'm going to do some quick math here. So if we get a percentage of those that, so nearly 60% of those over the last 4 years only, again, 4 years, you had 60% of the champions going in retain. So that's significant because, yeah, you're right. Many people look at WrestleMania as the time to make the change. And there are times to make the change. I think it's certainly not an absolute rule, but it is one that you look towards. If there's any event, any singular PLE throughout the year that you could point to and go, oh, that's the event that you change, then that's when you make the change. And then WrestleMania is that one. But it's not across the board, of course. You're right. And Rhea, I think, absolutely retains. Gunther is second in line to possibly retain. Logan Paul is third, I believe, in chances to retain. And Roman, I think Roman is fourth in line. And there still is a chance, though. I think you lined it up exactly in the odds of those champions retaining in order of who has the highest chance to retain. It's Rhea, then Gunther, then Logan Paul, then Roman. Now, of course, we didn't bring in the tag team champions, or we didn't bring in Io Sky. But if you're just talking about these four champions, I think that you lined it up actually exactly how it would go in terms of odds of retaining. So really good stuff. I like when those stats are brought up because nobody really digs into that. So thank you, Robert. All right, let's go to Kevin, or rather, Attorney Tut. So let's see what he says. I'm sure you're not thrilled about having to delve into some of these deeper social or societal topics on your wrestling podcast, but I wanted to take a minute to commend you on your positions on both the claims of gender inequality, i.e. Rhea's comments, and racial injustice, i.e. comments made towards Bianca. Admittedly, I find your position to be spot on, so there's an echo chamber bias, but I wanted to commend your approach towards addressing them. The logical, rational, and unapologetic manner in which you state and support your points of view is impressive. It's very attorney-like, objectively explained. Not too many people can handle these topics in a civil and persuasive manner. I think you do it excellently. Not trying to gas you up too much, but your message and approach can have a real positive impact on the national discourse on these types of topics. If you wanted to foray beyond wrestling, I see a bright future. Keep doing what you're doing. You're knocking it out of the park. Well, thank you, Attorney Todd. I don't like talking about political or religious, any kind of those those off-topic things that, no one listening to. If you click on a wrestling podcast, you don't go, oh man, I hope he talks about racial injustice today. No, I tell you, I hope he talks about, the trans community, LGBTQ today. All these very controversial things going on, right? You don't want to do it. That's not your objective for listening to a wrestling podcast. And the reason that I only bring these things up is because they're starting to bleed into wrestling. And when they bleed into my world of wrestling, then it kind of opens the door for me to talk about it. And of course, I dive deeper into it on a much more singular basis on my Patreon side of things, and in the After Dark shows and stuff like that. That's not on these feeds, right? So if you want to hear me more, or rather dive deeper into those singular topics that are not really wrestling related, you can absolutely check that out on Patreon. And, it always comes with like a warning. Hey, this isn't a wrestling episode. So those of you that are like, oh, this is wrestling, why is he talking about whatever? So it's very clearly labeled. If you don't want to listen to that show, you don't have to. It's not like, I labeled it wrestling and now you're listening to politics. Gotcha. Right. It's bad for business. Like I don't ever try to do that. But as far as these comments go, right, like, gender inequality, racial injustice, all this stuff, like it has bled into wrestling. It just has, because a lot of these positions that are taken by wrestlers, they're bringing their political views and beliefs into their world, into the wrestling fan world. And do we not have a right to comment on them? Do we not have a right to have the discussions? A lot of times it's the culturally accepted positions, which today are just that. This is just a fact, and this is not my opinion. But if you don't agree with the fact that black people are oppressed, women are being victimized by the patriarchy, things like that are just generally accepted as fact by a lot of the public, or especially our, kind of our cultural overlords, right? Our politicians, corporate media, all those kind of news outlets and conglomerates that just push these narratives. It's not even about them wanting to have a discussion. It's just, to them, there should be no discussion. And any kind of dissenting opinion is just wrong by the fact that it's a dissenting opinion. You're not allowed to have the discussion. You're not allowed to ask questions. It's just, you need to accept those things and a lot of others, right? Like the fact that men can become women suddenly, that kind of thing, without asking questions. You're not supposed to ask questions. The moment you start asking questions, well, you're racist, you're homophobic, you're this or that. You get labeled, and they just try to shut you down with fear. They try to shut you down. They don't want the conversation, because a lot of these topics, the second you start asking questions, it's such a fragile ideology they have. The second you start asking questions, guess what happens? Their point of view, their fact, according to them, their facts, their beliefs start to crumble instantly. It's so fragile that they can't even handle basic questions. So that's what a lot of this is about, is just, they don't want to have the discussion. They try to scare you into just complying with a lot of these narratives. And you're not allowed to think, or at least if you think, you have to think the right things, which the right thing, by the way, is what they believe. So that's why I bring it up. Okay. I'm getting off rails already, so I'll stop. But that's what a lot of this is about. And it's just the fact that, you can't even have a conversation. Like, try to have a conversation with a family member that has a differing political view. Like if you're a Republican and they're a Democrat, good luck. In today's day, it becomes like, how many people have stopped talking to each other? Family, friends have just completely stopped talking to each other because of the opposing political beliefs they have on any singular topic. Abortion, right? That's another one, right? That's a hot topic. Like things like that. I mean, it's incredible. And it's sad. People can't have discussions anymore. Discussions have been dissolved. It's just, if you don't believe what I believe, screw you, get out of my life. So discussion and debate and healthy conversation is a lost art. So I'll stop there. But thank you. Thank you so much, Attorney Tut. I I don't know if when you say have a bright future beyond wrestling, I mean, I don't know if you mean going into politics. That would be that's a dangerous place to be. No matter what side of the aisle you fall on, it's dangerous. Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, it's dangerous to go in there, but maybe in a different podcast, not focused on wrestling. But we'll see. Thank you, Attorney Todd. Really appreciate it. Let's see who else we have. Do we have Isabel? I think Isabel. I don't think we spoke, Isabel. And DJ, did I not read your or get your voicemail last week or any voicemails? Oh my God, I might have forgotten that. I'm so terrible. Anyway, Isabel, let's get to your email. So Isabel says, I just want to start by saying I love your Raw and SmackDown reviews, as in my country they air at 1 a.m. and do not get put on the network until 6 weeks later. Yikes. After last week's mailbag, you have convinced me that I want to see Cody lose at Mania just to see what the crowd's reaction would be. I do think that the Rock-Roman tag match could open night 1 with Drew screwing Seth, so Roman wins. Also, what was up with the WWE promising a WrestleMania to every city they went to last year? First London, then Detroit, and they have not yet delivered on that or brought it up since. Well, Isabel, they haven't also announced even the WrestleMania 41 location, much less anything beyond that. I mean, there's only one WrestleMania per year. So sure, they're saying that, but they haven't even had a chance to deliver yet because we haven't gone forward in time yet. So there's that. I mean, they don't announce WrestleMania cities 5 years in advance. There's a whole process, like a bidding process, the applications the city has to submit, because it's about money. And do they have the logistics and resources to host a WrestleMania? So there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, I would love to see a London. I mean, I would be really happy for you guys, over there in London. I mean, I would be really happy. I'm imagining you're over in the UK, Isabel. I mean, I would love to see you guys get a WrestleMania. I couldn't imagine the atmosphere over there. I couldn't imagine it. You guys are crazy for just like a regular Raw. Imagine a WrestleMania. Good Lord. So I hope you guys get one. I really do. I'm rooting for you. You deserve one. But yeah, I mean, we'll get the WrestleMania 41 location, I think, at WrestleMania 40. And then, we learn these things slowly, and it's not a fast process. So that's why you haven't gotten what you've been promised, because we just haven't had time to get there yet. So thanks, Isabel. I think that'll do it for the emails. Let's quickly get to voicemails. I am against the clock here because I have to go to work in about 10 minutes. So let's see how many we can get through before I get myself in trouble for work. So let's go.
What's going on, WWE Podcast World? This is DJ Kuzmo back at it again on your Mailbag show. Today is the day that Mercedes Moné, a.k.a. Sasha Banks, is supposed to be debuting tonight at AEW in Boston for AEW Big Business. Now, it'll be so hilarious. It'll be just so hilarious if she did debut. We all expected, all the AEW fans, all the AEW marks will be like, oh my goodness, where is Mercedes Moné? She was supposed to be debuting in Boston. But then we get a return of some guy by the name of Colt Cabana, or we get a return of a guy that we haven't seen in so many months by the name of Maxwell Jacob Freeman, just to see the fans get all pissed off on Twitter. But I know that's not going to happen, because Tony Khan is such a nice guy. He's too nice most of the times, too nice. So I know he's going to most likely have her show up at the beginning of the show or at the closing of the show of Mercedes Moné in AEW. Now, this is not an AEW report. Let's get to your favorite show to come in every single week on the Mailbag. And I'm talking about the Veer Mahaan Report. Now, the Veer Mahaan Report took place this past Monday night on Monday Night Raw, live from Houston, Texas, home of the Houston Rockets, home of none other than Travis Scott, who also made an appearance on Monday night, this past Monday Night Raw. We did get an interesting development. We did not get an appearance of the Indus, but we did get an interesting development, and that is that we are having some sort of six-pack ladder match for the Tag Team Championships, and we have qualifying matches. Now, I know this is, for some reason, they now remember that we have a tag team division. It's kind of ironic that, we have a tag team division. But anyway, we do have scheduled next week as one of the tag teams that's going to be involved in those qualifying matches to be involved at WrestleMania to go against the Undisputed Tag Team Champions in the ladder match. We do have none other than my guys, the Initiator, going up against Awesome Truth. Now, I know that my guys are not going to win, but it'll be interesting to see them on television because I haven't seen them for so many weeks, so many months. So with that being said, the Initiator most likely are going to lose against Awesome Truth. But hey, I'm happy to see them back on TV. Let's see where this goes from here. And with that being said, this is your guy, DJ Kuzmo. Have a blessed week. Be kind to one another. Stay used, my friends. And peace.
All right, DJ, good to hear from you. And I apologize if I didn't get to your voicemail last week. A lot of voicemails, I think, got on left on the burner. So I apologize to everybody. There's a pretty big influx last week. And I think I just forgot at the end of the week. So first of all, let me just say, Travis Scott, a huge country star. I'm joking. For some reason, I thought Travis Scott, when I heard that, I wasn't putting the face with the name. And I'm just like, because Travis Scott, to me, sounds country. And then I saw him and I listened to his music. Obviously, he's not country. So people are messaging me, he's not a country star, you idiot. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I felt like a clown. So yeah, Travis Scott, obviously, is not a country star. Oh, Lord. Sometimes, all right. Anyway, DJ. Yeah, your guys are probably not going to win. There's almost no chance, especially given where R-Truth is with the Judgment Day and the fans, how much they love him, and rightfully so. So the end of year will probably be, at least through now in WrestleMania, a one and done. See you after WrestleMania. Unfortunately, I just don't see them getting in. I'd give it like a 2% chance of them beating Awesome Truth, and that may be overdoing it. So yeah, your guys are probably going to take a back seat for a while. And I feel like I said this last WrestleMania. Well, after WrestleMania, then look for them to make an impact. Well, at WrestleMania, like I said that last year, we're here. We are a year later, and I'm saying the same thing. But they continue to continue to be on the roster. They're not fired. But I will say also, the next round of releases, I would be concerned if I'm them, and I hate to say that, but given how sparingly they're used, not good. But we'll see. I have hope. I still believe that there's a lot they haven't shown, and it's just that WWE doesn't have plans for them, and it sucks. But thank you, DJ. Let's continue.
Oh, hey, Matt. It's Devin here from Australia. Long time. Being unwell as well, a bit like you. I was collecting in every known disease and ailment over the last month and a half. So I know you asked me in my last voicemail whether I was going to go to the Elimination Chamber, but I'm on the East Coast and Perth is on the West, so there was no way I was going to go. But to be honest with you, that's really what I want to talk about is Elimination Chamber and just the build up to it. To be honest, even if Elimination Chamber was in my hometown, I wouldn't have gone because I felt they did nothing in the build up to the Elimination Chamber to leave anyone guessing about any outcome. I mean, and I really think WWE need to really pull their finger out and create a bit of uncertainty. Drew McIntyre was the only person cutting promos prior to Elimination Chamber of all the proper promos, like constantly in our faces, on our screens, talking about how he wanted to get a shot. So for me, that was like, right, he's going to win. Same with Becky Lynch. They knew straight away she was cutting promo after promo after promo, and none of the other contestants, I'm not sure, wrestlers, the other females, were getting any mic time to kind of push their case forward or their ambitions forward. So to me, straight away, I knew Becky Lynch is going to win. And then, of course, there was no way Rhea Ripley was going to lose that match. So there were, three meaningful, proper matches, PLE quality matches, but we knew who was going to win them. So why would you go? There's got to be a better way of doing this. I hope that, because I think it was an absolute fail. And that's a pity because, for this we want to do it because we're fans, but I didn't even go. It was just disappointing. They could have at least had, The Rock or LA Knight, doing a bit of mic time or pushing Drew around or whatever. I don't know. Just get something else to make us think, maybe this isn't going to go Drew's way or Becky's way. But they never did that. So, but on the other side, I on last week's Raw, I noticed how Chad Gable got quite a pop when he was named as one of the men in the Gauntlet match that I'll watch this evening. Would love to see him and Gunther, man. Those guys put on belters. Anyway, take care, Matt. Love your work. See ya.
All right. Well, Bevan, good to hear from you, and I'm glad you're feeling better. It's just this winter has been brutal. I mean, the weather here has been crazy, stupid warm, and we basically didn't have a winter up here, which is, I think we're like 30 inches below normal with snow here in upstate New York, which is, it's insane. I mean, it's been, I don't know what's going on. I guess I got to stop using my car so much and putting those CO2 in the air. I don't know, but that's very telling that somebody from Australia who doesn't get PLEs there ever is telling me that they wouldn't have gone even if it was in their hometown. That's telling. It tells me that you value the unpredictable part of wrestling, and that has been something lacking under Triple H. The unpredictable part has been lacking. Now, in its place is logical, predictable, but maybe good just booking, right? And there's nothing wrong with either one of them. But the problem is that, and a lot of fans don't understand this, not you, Bevan, just generally, is that unpredictable and the right decision are often not the same thing. Unpredictable and the right decision are desirable. It's what you want as a fan. You want to be surprised. You want to be shocked. You want that moment, but you also want them to do the right thing. Those are very oftentimes not the same. They're not the same outcome. And when they are, you take it and you run, because that's a combination that doesn't come up a lot. So I think that is a lot of what WWE has run into, is they've taken kind of the safe, predictable routes in an effort to make sure they're booking the right way, even if it's not the most unpredictable, shocking way, just for shock value. So I understand why they're doing it. They're kind of taking the safe road. Triple H is taking the safe road. But there are times where you just need to take a chance and do something wacky. I agree. All the outcomes on Elimination Chamber were very predictable. I agree. They were. And we got exactly what we thought we would. And that wasn't very fun to watch. But you also, WWE would say, well, WWE, if they were trying to convince you to go, would say, well, anything could happen. You go for the experience. It's an experience. We're going to take you on a ride. That's exactly what they would say. So you go for the crowd reaction, you go for going, you go for just the fact that there probably won't be a PLE in Australia for a while. You go as like kind of a family event, or like you look at it as, okay, we know it's probably going to happen, but at the same time, I'm going for the experience. That's all. That's exactly what they would tell you. But hope you're on the mend there, Bevan, and hope the family's well. And let's continue. I think we got one more voicemail for this week. Actually, I lied. Kyle, I was going to get to your voicemail. I played it. And I can kind of hear you, but it sounds like you're 40 feet away from the microphone. So I think you're driving. I got some words, but it would have been too difficult for listeners to hear that, because it's difficult to decipher everything you're saying. So Kyle, send in your voicemail again. I think it was Kyle from New York. So send in your voicemail again, and we'll get to it, okay? Because it was a little tough to hear you. That's all. So, all righty. That'll do it for this week. If I missed any stragglers, or maybe even I'll do a backlog voicemail on Sunday with Mr. and Mrs. Rocky T after the conversation concludes. Maybe I'll do any voicemails I've missed over the last couple weeks. We'll see. But or maybe I'll do another one later this week if I'm feeling good. Maybe I'll do one tomorrow. I don't know. I'll try to fit in everybody that didn't get a chance maybe last week, even if the voicemails are outdated. We can still chat. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.